Today I'm going to compare these two bikes, the Honda CB500X and the Royal Enfield Himalayan. So for the people that watched my previous video, I know I said I was going to shave my head, but before I did that I gave a chance to my mom and to my girlfriend to cut my hair, and they actually did a pretty good job considering it was the first time for them. There's a little bonus clip at the end of this video if you want to see it of them cutting my hair. Also, one more thing before I start talking about these bikes, I want to thank all the people that commented on my previous video guessing the movie quotes. Your comments are right here. At the end of this video there's another movie quote. If you want to guess that, your comment will be in the next video. Alright, so let's get to the bikes. I was searching online for a comparison between these two bikes and I didn't find any. I did find one video of the previous model of the CB500X in comparison to the Royal Enfield, but that was in Indian without any subtitles. So I think this is a pretty unique comparison, which kind of surprises me because these two bikes can really be compared. They're both A2 licensed, they're both adventure bikes, so they've got a lot in common, but they're also very different. I already know some people that are torn between these two bikes. They don't know what to get, so I hope by making this video I'll make that decision a little bit more easy. I'll talk about which of these bikes you should get later on in this video. So for the people that don't know, this is my bike, the CB500X, and this is my dad's bike, the Royal Enfield. So how am I going to compare these two bikes? First I'm going to go over some technicalities like price and horsepower and stuff like that, so you know the difference in figures between these two bikes. I'm not gonna go in detail, but I'm just gonna go over some stuff. And then I'm going to go over every riding condition, ranging from small tarmac roads to highway riding, off-road riding, everything in between. And with every riding condition, I always give an edge to one of the two bikes. First, let's talk a little bit more about technical stuff. Let's talk about the engine first. So the Honda CB500X has got a parallel twin 471cc engine, and the Royal Enfield has got a single cylinder 411cc engine. While there isn't really a big difference between the engine displacement, there is a big difference in horsepower. The Honda CB500X has got 49 horsepower and the Himalayan has got 25 horsepower. So that really comes into play when people are thinking which bike to get. A lot of people hold off on the Himalayan because they think it's underpowered. My personal opinion is that it's powerful enough for street riding and just normal riding. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a kick and a little bit more of a fun aspect, maybe it's a little bit underpowered for that. This also comes into play when riding two up, but I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. The next figure I want to throw at you is the price. So it's pretty known that the Royal Enfield motorcycles are pretty affordable, and that's no different with the Royal Enfield Himalayan. The Royal Enfield Himalayan comes in at 4,900 euros and the Honda CB500X comes in at around 6,900 euros. So it's a 2,000 euro difference, so just keep that in mind in the rest of this comparison. Also, something to point out is that the maintenance of the Royal Enfield is also a little bit more cheap in comparison to the Honda CB500X. The last technical thing I want to talk about is the tank size and the fuel consumption. The Honda CB500X has got a 17.3 liter tank, and the Royal Enfield has got a 15 liter tank. So it's a small difference, but there is a bigger difference in fuel consumption. So the CB500X does 29 kilometers per liter and the Royal Enfield Himalayan does 36 kilometers per liter. So with the CB500X you could go for 500 kilometers and the Royal Enfield Himalayan should be able to go for 540 kilometers. So again, there is a price difference in favor for the Himalayan because it's got better fuel consumption. So the summary of this is that the Honda CB500X has got more power, which allows for a little bit more acceleration, a bit more fun, and it also allows you to go two up with a little bit more comfort. And the Royal Enfield Himalayan, some say, is a bit underpowered, but it's a really affordable bike. Buying the motorcycle, maintaining it, and buying fuel for it is all very affordable with this bike. So that was the boring part in my opinion. Let's talk about riding experience now. I already know which bike my dog prefers. For the first riding condition, I want to start with the small tarmac roads, because both of these bikes feel like they're made for that kind of road. I've ridden on both of these bikes on the small tarmac roads and they both feel very balanced and very fun to ride. But if I have to give an edge to one of these two bikes, it's got to be the CB500X, because if I look at them stock, the CB500X comes with 90% road-oriented tires and Royal Enfield comes with 50-50 tires. So it's obvious the CB500X is more road-orientated, and you also feel that a little bit. When you're riding on small tarmac roads, it could happen that the roads just suddenly stop and you'll have to get to a dirt track or a sandy road, gravel road. And that's where I would give the edge to the Royal Enfield Himalayan. I do think a lot of it has got to do with the tires, but it's just the fact that you'll feel a little bit more confident on the Royal Enfield in comparison to the Honda CB500X. Also, the standing position is way more comfortable on the Royal Enfield in comparison to the Honda CB500X. And that takes me to the next riding condition, going fully off-road. So for this riding condition, obviously I'm also going to go with the Royal Enfield because it was purposely built to go off-road. The CB500X can do some off-roading, but it's not that comfortable standing up, but you would really need to change the tires if you want to feel more confident on it. Of course, both of these bikes are not the best option for going very hard off-road. If you really want to push the limits off-road, there are better bikes for that. Alright, so let's step away a bit from the smaller roads and the off-roading. Let's talk a little bit more about highway riding. So when you're riding on the highway here in Belgium, the speed limit is 120 kilometers an hour, which is about 75 miles an hour. Both of these bikes obviously can make it to 120 kilometers an hour, but I've got to say it's more comfortable with the CB500X in comparison to the Royal Enfield. I would say the sweet spot for the speed on the highway with the CB500X is about 115, 110, and with the Royal Enfield it's about 90, 95 kilometers an hour. So here I would give the edge to the Honda CB500X. When you're gonna go riding on the highway, chances are you're gonna run into some traffic. Here in Belgium it's completely okay to lane split. So when we're talking about traffic and lane splitting, I think it's important your bike is as small as it can be and as light as it can be. Obviously they can both do it. The Honda CB500X is a really popular bike for people that want to commute to work riding through traffic. But if I wanted to compare the two, I would say this one is a little bit more easy to do so. And when I'm talking about traffic or highway riding, I immediately think of long distance riding. So that's a pretty big discussion because there's a lot of things that come and show when you decide to go long distance. What do you mean by long distance? Is it across the world, or is it within Europe or within America or within Canada or whatever? Some people in previous videos already asked me to give my opinion on which bike to get on a long distance ride. And what I said was, it depends on where you're going. If you're going to countries in the Middle East like Iran, Afghanistan, I would say the Royal Enfield is a better choice because the Royal Enfield has got a lot of simplicity to it. You're always going to be able to find someone that can fix your bike in every country you go to. The CB500X is not that complicated like a BMW GS 1200 or something like that, or an African Twin. It's got way less electronics than that. But I would say you're a lot more safe going to a mechanic with this bike in any country. Also, those countries have a lot more non-tarmac roads, so that's where the Royal Enfield stands out. But if you would go to like a country like America or traveling through Europe or Canada, those countries have a lot more tarmac roads. You're always going to find bike-specific parts. So there I would say it's not a problem going with the bike like this. So for long distance it's pretty hard to give an edge to one bike because they're both capable of doing it. But I would say I wouldn't feel comfortable in every country with the CB500X. Whereas I would with the Royal Enfield. So I think the edge goes to the Royal Enfield for long distance. Things do change when you decide to go 2-up. The Royal Enfield has only got 25 horsepower and you feel that when you go 2-up. Whereas the CB500X does a really good job of going 2-up. The seat is bigger and more comfortable for the passenger on CB500X. So if I would give an edge to one of the two bikes for going 2-up, it's definitely the CB500X. I know some people were interested in my dad's opinion about these two bikes, so I'm gonna ask him why he bought the Himalayan instead of the CB500X. So why did you prefer the Himalayan instead of the CB500X?
For me, at that time, it was the price. I don't really like the CB500 looks.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's your opinion. I think a lot of people would disagree, but okay. So if I would summarize a bit, the CB500X is a little bit more road orientated. It's more comfortable on the highway. You can also go 2-up. It does everything pretty good. And I would say the Royal Enfield, especially for its price, is a great bike. If you mainly go on gravel roads or off-road, I would definitely go with the Royal Enfield. Feel free to disagree on anything I say, of course. I'm sure it's all a bit personal choice anyways. My purpose is to travel 2-up and going to specific countries where I can really plan stuff. If necessary, bring parts with me. So I chose to go with the CB500X. It also can do gravel roads, it can do a little bit off-road, especially if you change the tires or change the suspension, it can do it easily. And I also enjoy a bit more horsepower than the 25 that Royal Enfield's got. If you would talk about the looks of the bike, that's really personal. I think I would prefer the Royal Enfield because it's more of a classic look. It looks more sturdy and a bit more rough. And the CB500X looks a little bit more sporty and modern, but I like both of them. So if you would ask me what bike should I get, this one or the Royal Enfield, you should always buy a bike that's gonna be good for the things that you want to do with it. If you're gonna buy a Harley Davidson to go off-road, you're not gonna have much fun because you're probably gonna break down or something. If you're gonna ride mainly on highway 2-up, then go with this bike. If you're going to mainly go on gravel roads, go with that bike. I think I said what I wanted to say. I'm sure I forgot some stuff. If you got any more questions, be sure to comment below. And also, guess this movie quote. Just a little spoiler, it's going to be a really easy one. To boldly go where no one has gone before. I don't know if I'm gonna upload this, but I'm gonna let my mom cut my hair because I'm sick and tired of this long hair. So, and if she doesn't do a good job, I'm just gonna shave it all off. The first cut.
Yes.
My mom's too scared to cut my hair any further, so my girlfriend's gonna take over, I guess. What are you doing to me?
I'm trying my best.
I think this is kind of the final result.
You still have to model it a bit.
Model? It's something
Styling.
completely different than I'm used to. I just let her do her thing.
I think it looks nice. It's the first time I'm doing such a thing, so give me some credit.